Hi, I'm attorney Susan Loggans. Do you have a family member who's mentally or physically disabled due to somebody else's negligence? Have other lawyers turned you down? I just collected $9 million for a man who was injured 14 years ago and $5 million for an adult male who was injured at birth 34 years ago. Did you fall and get seriously injured at a home, a big box store, or a business? You may have a right to collect for someone's negligence by putting you in danger. I just collected hundreds of thousands of dollars for a 75-year-old man who fell at a restaurant and a blind man who fell at an auto store. Other lawyers had said no case. I won. I'm attorney Susan Loggans. I've never worried about being politically correct. When I was a young female lawyer and opened my own firm, the old guard didn't like it too much. Insurance companies still don't. But you know who likes me? My clients. I've collected millions of dollars for them in record-setting cases. If your child has cerebral palsy, I know you're scared. You're scared of who's going to take care of your baby when you can't. That's the single reason that clients come to me after labor and delivery gone wrong. I've handed checks for millions to parents, and there's no happiness. My 98-year-old mother was a fall risk in a hospital, and no one came when the alarms went off. They didn't even notice. Has that happened to you? Nursing homes and hospitals are understaffed and can be neglectful. If you or your loved one has been seriously injured in a hospital or nursing home due to lack of good care, I will listen to you. Listen to me. Please do not talk to the insurance company of a person who hit you. Insurance companies make money by paying you as little as possible. People come to me with offers of $25,000 and I get millions. Take care of your medical needs and then call me. I've been trying cases and taking down these unfair insurance tactics for 40 years. Black Lives Matter. That's a phrase that applies not only in criminal cases, but civil cases as well. I recently collected $14 million for two young men who had been rejected by establishment lawyers.
Ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to show these commercials. And Susan Logan seems to me to be a personal injury attorney. And then, I wanted to play that clip at the end, Black Lives Matter. And so now this is what they do. And they do very well at using Black Lives Matter, to push their agenda. And so in this case, I'm like, okay, Susan, you're winning all this money and stuff. I see all your commercials, honey. And I don't see you saying I recruit teenage girls that has sex with older men and extort that man for money. I didn't see that on the commercial. And so as a woman that's I guess this is her side job, recruiting teenagers to come in and say that they had sex with Robert. I haven't heard of anybody else going to her saying that I had sex with an older guy and she took the case. So I'm saying this to say Susan Logan, she said she made millions and millions. 40 years she got millions. So she gets her cut. So $9 million she received, she claimed, and she gets her 1/3. Okay, and then probably other fees. She probably got fees on top of fees. So as an attorney, you have multiple teenagers coming in. Are you recruiting them? Allegedly, she said, and then you have others, saying what she said. But I just like to hear it from the horse's mouth, not Jim Derrick Gaddis. He's saying that she's seeing several, and I know she settled more than that. So you should ask yourself this question. If she's getting, probably one person, to come in and then, she, settle, with them, and things like that. She settled, it was a judgment. and that's public records. She settled with Robert, and this was from the his record label, giving him this, this is what you need to do. Go ahead and settle. It's nothing but pennies. We got this going on. We need to protect your image. Of course, they weren't concerned about Robert fighting this case. Only thing that they were concerned about was protecting the brand. Robert was their brand that was bringing in money, and good money, to them, and they were going to protect their brand. They didn't give a damn about Robert Sylvester Kelly, but they were trying to protect their brand, R.kelly. So we're gonna go ahead and settle. So she settles with him, court records, and so after that, she allegedly had her side deals. So I see this is easy. So we're gonna get our side deals, because see, now I know I can work with my buddy, Darren McDavis. We went to school together, allegedly, and we can work together and we can get money. Let me recruit. Let me recruit some people, and let's make our money. But attorneys, when it gets that far gone, where you have multiple young females coming and saying that this person did this to me, you're gonna say enough is enough. I done had more than you to come in here, and we're gonna have to take this to the law. We'll handle the civil suit later. Okay, so doesn't make sense to you what I'm saying? Attorneys, when they getting back-to-back alleged accusers of child molestation to come into your office, you're gonna be like, okay, we settled this way, and I'm seeing too many. Now this has to be taken into court. We will take this because this person needs to be stopped, and we are going to sue later. So you should ask yourself this question. Did she know that they were lying, and this was just a way to get extra money? This was her side job to get extra money? You should ask yourself that question, you guys. I'm just putting that out there, and you can take it for however you want. You don't have to agree with me on it, or nothing like that. Let's agree to disagree. We are adults, and we should be able to express our opinions and put things out there, and learn to acknowledge each other's opinions, being adults. So that's how I feel about Susan Logan. This lady did a lot, but you're gonna do the right thing. You will not let money get in the way of you doing the right thing. So I'm saying that to say, she knowing, my opinion, she knew that a lot of this stuff was just a rumor and bull crap, and everybody, the word spreads real fast in Chicago. So you got all these people, okay, I can go to Susan Logan, she can give me stuff, behind the scenes. Let's backdoor. That's exactly what people been doing, backdooring, going through the back door. They backdoor Robert, from my research, Robert fights his cases, okay? He fights his cases And he settled out of court because that's what his record label advised him to do. And he's seeking this, people to advise him and give him the right, steer him in the right direction. And he took that advice of his record label, just the same as Michael. He went to his grave saying he regret settling with these people, and he know he didn't do anything, but the record label pushed him into it. What a coincidence. Was that Sony also that gave him that advice? Okay. Remember, people, when these people, you're only good for them when you can bring something to them. Okay? You're only worth something to them when you're bringing wealth to them. You're no good to them when you're not bringing anything to them. So, always protect yourself. If you feel like you need to fight the case, you should fight the case. Kevin Hart, he didn't go by like, don't tell me to settle. I didn't do shit. I didn't do anything. I'm going to fight this case. And that was rightfully so. And you know what happened? The judge saw the bullshit and kicked it out.
Lydia Agu represents Faith Rogers, who filed a lawsuit last year against R. Kelly claiming he raped her and infected her with herpes. Earlier this week, Agu was found guilty of federal obstruction charges, and is now facing up to 40 years prison. Her conviction was handed down on the same day Kelly and his lawyer were due to appear in a New York courtroom for a preliminary hearing in the case. Agu was found guilty after she worked with a client to hide the proceeds from the sale of 4 properties from the government. That client owed millions in restitution due to a 2010 wire fraud conviction, and Agu lied to U.S. attorney when asking that the lien be taken off the properties. Agu falsely stated that the client would not profit, and even took a fee herself as the licensed real estate broker was behind the sale of the properties. Show that Lydia Agu is now facing 40 years in prison after she was found guilty of conspiring with a client to hide the money made from the short sale of 4 properties from the government, despite the fact that the individual owed millions in restitution. Agu also profited from this scheme according to the FBI and federal prosecutors, as she is also a licensed real estate broker and represented her client in the sale. Agu falsely stated to the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York that her client did not stand to profit from the sales when asking that the government lift the liens on the properties. As proved at trial, Hills violated her oath as an attorney by participating in a corrupt scheme to impede the collection of forfeiture and restitution owed to the government by her client, stated United States Attorney Donahue. Today's verdict holds her responsible for attempting to undermine the laws she was sworn to uphold, and serves as a message to others that this office will not tolerate such conduct. This all stems from incidents in 2016, when Hills worked with her client to hide the proceeds from the short sales of 4 properties owned by the individual.
So now we have Lydia Agu, and she's also known as Lydia Hills. She was Jane Doe's attorney, Jane Doe number 5's attorney, the Jane Doe number 5 of New York. She was convicted of a crime. So, they said she was facing up to 20 years. I don't think that she has received that. I'm really not sure. I tried to do a follow-up on that to see if she's out on, due to the coronavirus. So if she's on probation, or whatever. But Lydia Hills, she was convicted of fraud, lying to, the government, and things like that. And also into, helping her aunt. She lied and she tried to cover up, fraudulent things with her aunt. So I'm like, if this attorney is teaching somebody and helping somebody and abetting somebody to, lie to the court of law, when you think that she will, coerce her client to, give a little white lie, to the courts to get some money, on to the next. So now we have the, Jane Doe number 5, New York. She's coming out and she wants, the judge to put a default on Robert for the lawsuit. But I just wanted to remind her, Miss Hill is the reason why. His attorneys were prepared to be there to get everything together, on that part. So we already know where Robert is located, so how can he default into a proceeding, and we have a pandemic going on as well. So I think that, she saw the articles, the news, this $1.2 million, and she was like, oh, this is my chance to go ahead and push forward so I can get some money. But, I'm sorry. It's not Robert's fault. Not this one here, He and his attorney was ready. So I think you might have to reach out to Miss Hills and, and reach out to her. And then, I think a lot of these accusers that was on Lifetime need to reach out to them if they're, in desperate need of funding right now. And Me Too and, Lifetime get together and, get some of these millions that they made off using, R. Kelly and his accusers to make millions.
All over the news in the past year. Michael Avenatti, Stormy Daniels' attorney, was arrested today by police in Los Angeles on suspicion of domestic violence.
Late today, police in Los Angeles announced that they had arrested the brash attorney who was taking on President Trump. In a tweet, police said, "We can confirm that today, LAPD detectives arrested Michael Avenatti on suspicion of domestic violence. This is an ongoing investigation." The arrest stemmed from an incident involving a woman, but investigators did not offer any more information about Avenatti. In her lawsuit against President Trump, Daniels alleged that she had an affair with Mr. Trump before he became president, and that she was paid to keep quiet about it shortly before the 2016 election. Avenatti also represented Julie Swetnick, who made sexual misconduct allegations against Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh during his confirmation.
So next we have Michael Avenatti, and I'm pretty sure you all know about this attorney, ex-attorney. He had so many scandals going on, from fraud, extortion to blackmail, wire fraud, tax fraud, you name it. And he was so desperate because he was, dead broken. So he took on Donald Trump. I think that was one of his biggest mistakes, taking on Donald Trump. And then he took on Robert Sylvester Kelly, R.kelly, known to the majority of the people. He took on him, and everything backfired on that. He had his hands all on a tape that he claims to be Robert Kelly with an underage girl. The first pursuit that he tried to do was try to do a Susan Logan and a Lisa Van Allen, and Robert didn't budge. So that's what they normally do. Once you don't budge, first they threaten to take it to the press. You don't budge, then they get angry. They go to the press. So things fell apart. As we know, Robert has been indicted. And once again, indictments are assumption of a crime. It's you assume that a crime has been committed, and so it's up to you to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that this crime has taken place, and that's up to the defendant to prove their innocence in court. So he is allowed his due process and everyone else in that matter. So once that fails, he went after Nike because he's desperate now. I need money. So he goes after Nike and tries to extort Nike, blackmail, and fraud. Okay. This man has even gone to the point of getting someone that was handicapped, that's disabled now, taking his money to pay his taxes, his fees and bills, and, and lying to this person, which he was going to do, with the alleged accusers of robbery. He was going to do the same thing to you guys like he did Stormy Daniels. So that's another corruption in the case with Robert. So let's move on to Miss Gloria Allred. Okay, call him by her name, Gloria Allred. So we have Gloria Allred, who allegedly sandbagged one of her clients, and this was a male client. Now, I see her, the high percentage is females that she worked with. So, she's a woman empowerment, and she sandbagged a client that was suing CBS, and she backdoored them and had got a deal with them to do some kind of documentary of herself, And so, I call that a conflict of interest as well. So, it was, thrown up under the rug because, CBS is known as a high power as well, just like Sony and everybody else, and she's working with CBS. And so, he didn't beat the case. Maybe he can go back and, and try it again to get his, money, earned. So you find out in the investigation that Gloria Allred allegedly didn't interview people that her client worked with to get factual information. She didn't do anything. If anything, she went in there and they offered her, some kind of deal or, so she can get this documentary done, And so when I look at Gloria Allred, she, says she's for the women. And if she's for the women, you're going to be for the women. You're not going to be for, a woman that's coming to you that's dealing with somebody with wealth. And if you see her history, she's only dealing with clients with wealth. If you're for the woman, to get justice, you're going to take on small, medium, and large. So, everybody, this concludes the video. Please like, share, and subscribe it. Once again, I still feel like an investigation should be done in, Robert's case, because it's a lot of, tankness. It's a lot of ploy. It's a lot of, fraud. When you in tampering with, this is just a lot. So, you guys, please leave a comment down below on how you feel about these different attorneys and the scandals that they have going on. Should the tape Michael Avenatti presented to CNN and everybody else and their mama watched it should be presented in court because he is so much of a fraud?
Ryan called for a special prosecutor to review the Cook County State's Attorney's Office handling of the Jussie Smollett case. Today, Judge O'Brien offers her reaction to the special prosecutor's report.
It's a sad day for everyone in Cook County because this is very serious and it's very upsetting to hear that our state's attorney is incompetent and that that she's a liar.
Special Prosecutor Dan Webb found substantial abuses of discretion and operational failures by the Cook County State's Attorney's Office in prosecuting and resolving the initial Smollett case. And actions by Kim Foxx and other attorneys in her office may rise to the level of a violation of legal ethics by State's Attorney Foxx and Cook County State's Attorney's Office lawyers relating to false and or misleading public statements made about the prosecution and resolution of the initial Smollett case. In February, Smollett was indicted for false reports of a hate crime once the special prosecutor found there was evidence to prosecute the actor. Previously, Fox's office dismissed charges against Smollett. Today, Fox issued a statement saying, in part, she rejects the Office of the Special Prosecutor's characterizations of its exercises of prosecutorial discretion and private or public statements as abuses of discretion or false statements to the public. And she says there have been changes to her office, like hiring of a new ethics officer and more separation of their function from the administration of the office and strengthening of the recusal plan with clear guidelines. Judge O'Brien, who kicked off the inquiry, says Fox needs to step aside.
If a person's in public life and they lie to us, that's pretty hard to say, I'm going to make some changes so I don't lie anymore. That's rather strange. It's time for her perhaps to step aside.
Well, the list goes on and on with Kim Foxx, how she handled Robert's case. And my question to you all, do you think that she's trying to be hard and use Robert to clean up the mistake she made with Jussie Smollett? The only thing that I have to prove on this channel is a man's innocence. That's it. That is all. You guys please have a great day. Please like, share, and subscribe.